We're going to look at 4 examples on how we can use grid method to expand brackets. The first of those is going to be a single bracket, and after that we're going to look at how we can expand double brackets using the grid method. So for the first bracket we've got here 2x, x plus 5. So there are different ways in which we know how to expand this, but let's look at applying the grid method to this. So the idea is the product, the 2 different parts of this, will be split between these 2 different parts of the grid. Okay, so we're going to place 2x in that top column, and then we're going to separate the 2 different terms of the other part of the product in these 2 spaces here. So the first one will have x, and this one will have 5. Every term there is positive, so I haven't written anything in front of those. Inside the grid, we're going to times these together because it is a multiplication grid, and then we're going to work out what will go in these 2 spaces here. So 2x times by x will give us 2x squared, and 2x times by 5 will give us 10x. And it is then the terms that are inside the grid that we'll need to then add together to give us our answer. So here, adding those 2 together will give us 2x squared plus 10x. And that's exactly the same answer we could have got if we'd used another method to expand the single bracket here. Another way you might have known how to do this was to times 2x by the 2 terms inside the bracket, and that would have given us the same answer. The grid method is going to be particularly useful for the other types of questions we're going to look at now. So with these types of questions, we've got 2 brackets, a set of double brackets, and we're going to be looking at expanding these, and we're going to do a very similar thing. The only thing that's different here is that now we have got 2 columns, because we've got 2 terms in each, and we're going to separate it in that same way. So I'm going to put x and 8 at the top, and then I'm going to put x, and here now this is -3, I will put there. We're going to fill in our grid. So x times x is going to give us x squared. 8 times x will give us 8x. X times -3 will give us -3x. And 8 times -3 will give us -24. So this time we've got 4 terms in the middle that we're going to need to add together. So let's write this out underneath here. So we've got x squared plus 8x because it's positive. Take away 3x because that's negative, and take away 24 because that's negative. So that's what we've got. The only last thing that we can do now, and in the question it does say expand and simplify, is that we can look and see whether we can simplify any of those terms. 8x and 3x both have the same variable, so we can combine and collect those 2 terms. 8x take away 3x is 5x, so we can simplify this to give x squared plus 5x take away 24. Okay, so expanding our double bracket there will give us these 3 terms here. And we're going to look at 2 other examples of different forms that we could get. So this one here, slightly different because we've got a coefficient in front of x now, but we're going to do exactly the same thing. So in the top, I'm going to put 2x and -5. In the vertical, I'm going to put x and 4. And then we're going to times them together to find out what goes inside. So 2x times x is going to give us 2x squared. -5 times x, -5x. 2x times 4 is going to give us 8x. And -5 times by 4 is going to give us -20. And then we're going to add those 4 terms together. So that's going to give us 2x squared, take away 5x, plus 8x, take away 20. And then we're going to look again and see if there's anything here we can simplify. We've got -5x, add 8x, which is going to give us plus 3x. So our final answer will be 2x squared plus 3x, take away 20. Okay, and for the final one, this looks a little bit different, and there's quite a few common misconceptions around this on how we would do this. One of those being that we could just square x and square 7, which doesn't work and won't give us the correct answer. The grid method is a really useful way of especially working at this kind of question here to make sure we don't miss out any terms. And the key thing to understand is that if we've got x plus 7 squared, another way to write this is x plus 7 times by x plus 7. So we can now see actually this takes a very similar form to the two questions above. So let's put both of these two in our grid. So we've got x and 7 and x and 7. Let's fill in our grid. So x times x is x squared. 7 times x, 7x. 7 times x, or x times 7 is 7x. And 7 times 7 gives us 49. And then if we add those together, that will give us x squared plus 7x plus 7x plus 49. And we can see that we can add the two terms together in the middle. So 7x plus 7x is going to give us x squared plus 14x plus 49. Okay, so when expanding, it gives us similar three terms. We've got an x squared term, we've got an x term, and we've got a constant. And that is the same actually for all of these three here that we've expanded. So that's how we can use the grid method to expand both a single bracket and double brackets. Particularly useful, I think, for double brackets to make sure that we don't miss any terms out when doing this.